an Empire Boxing and Unlearning Network production.
Welcome back to the Empire Boxing Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Jay, and tonight we have the pleasure of chatting with up-and-coming talent Emiliano Moreno. Hailing from Long Beach, California, at 18 years old, his record sits at 9-0 with 5 KOs. He turned pro at 15 years old and just fought on Pro Box, and it was a war, very impressive. As I mentioned in the pre-show, we watched that today. And thanks for joining us tonight, and I take it you're in Las Vegas right now.
Yeah, I'm in Las Vegas doing training camp right now.
In training camp right now. So did you take a little bit of time off? You just fought about 2 weeks ago. Did you take a week off or right back into it?
Yeah, I took a week off just to spend time with my family a little bit, and then now I'm back at it again.
Nice. And where is your camp taking place in Las Vegas?
North Las Vegas. Right now we're training at Salas Boxing Gym.
Okay, great. And at this point in your camp, like seeing as you're just coming off a fight, are you getting back into some sparring, or did you deload into sparring, more into skills and technical work? What does that look like at this stage of a camp for you?
Right now we're just working on getting back into conditioning.
Right.
Swimming a lot, running, training, but no sparring yet. We're probably gonna do sparring maybe in a week or 2 weeks.
Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, I watched your fight today. A really impressive performance, and it was a war. Tell me your thoughts on that fight.
Yeah, I had a very tough opponent, Undefeated. As in, yeah, he was tough. I hit him with everything I could, and I felt like I could have, kept my distance a little more. But I did want to go at war with him too. But it's just like something I learned along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, your career is just beginning. So there's going to be such an evolution to your game and your style as you continue to take fights. Now, I want to know, how did boxing come into your life?
It came into my life when I was 10 years old. My brother started boxing first, but he's not boxing no more. But my brother started boxing, so I saw that, and I was looking to get into a sport. So I decided to just follow him and train with my dad.
And was your dad a boxer as well, or did he just, know a little bit about it?
He just trained a little bit, but he wasn't like a professional or nothing.
So where did your dad did he take you and kind of guide you into the hands of a professional and just sort of support you along the way? Like, where did you end up beginning your training?
Yeah, so when my brother was boxing, he's already been boxing for like a year when I started boxing. So my dad had met Jose Benavides Senior, and from there they became like good friends, and Jose Benavides was giving him tips, and my dad was learning from him. So really I got my like training from my dad and Jose Benavides. And Jose Benavides, he has Dave Benavides, who wasn't really an amateur. He focused more on pro style. So since I started, they focused me more on pro instead of amateur.
Wow, cool. And I mean, okay, so you started boxing at 10, and by 15 you turned pro?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a very unique journey. That's a super short amateur career. And then, so what was some of the conversations that people were having around you? Like, did they see something in you? Was there that moment where you were like, knew you were destined for the pros? How did that come to be?
Yeah. So most people, when they start training at a young age, but they train amateur style. So they don't really train pro style. So when they do start training pro style, they do it for like 4 or 5 years, and then they're ready for pros. But I never really started amateur, so I just trained straight pro. So I was already ready for pro within the 4 or 5 years that I was training. So Jose Benavides believed in me, my dad believed in me, my family believed in me. My parents believed in me. They let me do homeschool for a little bit while I was training, and my manager believed in me too. My manager. When I turned pro.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, did you relocate at all from were you guys living in Long Beach at the time when this happened? You were staying in Long Beach, or do you just travel for your camps, or has it taken you totally out of Cali?
We were in Long Beach probably maybe like 6 months before my professional debut. We went to Washington to train with Jose Benavides and over there.
Right.
And that's where we met my manager, Ray Fry. And he saw me spar. He really liked me, so he decided to take me under him, and But yeah, after that, we were in Washington for a little bit. Then I turned pro, and now we just go different places for camp. Sometimes we go to Washington. Right now we're in Vegas. Sometimes in LA we spar at Wild Card.
Right.
But yeah, we just go different places, try to find new people. Spar the big names, like I sparred Tim Zoo in Vegas, like I think a year ago I sparred him.
Okay.
Um,
And what was that
and
experience like?
it was good. It was good. He's super strong, super strong. He picks his punches very good. He lands the jab first before he throws any other punch. So he's good. He's fast, strong, and he knows how to cut the ring too.
So what's next for you? Is there a conversation of the next fight in the works?
Yeah, the next fight is gonna be somewhere in May. Somewhere in May. But yeah, we're looking into that right now. Just trying to get back into rhythm again.
Right on. So your brother was the first one that kind of entered into the boxing realm. Now he's not boxing at all anymore. Now his brother, are you the older or younger brother?
Younger.
So his younger brother's now stepped up into, a very anticipated spot in an up and coming talent. How is that for your family? Like and dad, especially as he was there at the beginning, what's that like for your family to kind of come along this journey with you?
They're really excited. They know the potential I have and what I can do in the boxing world. So they're super supportive of me. They've always believed in me, and they're just super excited for more to come.
That's awesome. Now, are you also in school currently, or are you?
No.
No. Okay. So was that a choice you made to sort of focus on the boxing?
Yeah. In ninth grade, I kind of I did homeschool a little bit, and then I realized that this wasn't really for me. Like I needed like more time to train during the day because I train 3 to 4 times a day.
Right.
So I just need like whenever I'm not training, I'm either resting or either training or resting. So I didn't really have time for school, so I decided it wasn't for me, and I decided to focus more on boxing.
Incredible. No, how does that impact you just from like like there must be friends or stuff that from your school years that, you have and, you're not really spending the time with, like they would be spending with you in a normal situation. How is that like balancing that? Does that bother you? Or how do you make time for being an 18-year-old?
No, in school I only really had like 1 or 2 friends, but they're also focusing on their own career. Like one of them was trying to be a rapper, so like we don't hang out as much, but we kind of get it because we're both focusing on our careers. But we do hang out every once in a while.
Right. And you don't feel like you're missing out on anything. You feel like you're right where you're meant to be.
Yeah, I feel like I'm right where I'm meant to be.
What kind of goals do you have with your career? Where do you really want to take this? Where do you see yourself in the next, 2, 5, 10 years?
I want to be world champion. I want to retire my mom. Make sure my family's good. But yeah, I want to be world champion, and I want to do it at a young age, probably like around 20 or 21. So right now we're taking up the big fights. Undefeated. We fought 3 undefeated fighters in a row. And yeah, I just want to make sure my family's okay.
Yeah, is that something that is important for you? Is there a piece of your story that's like kind of fighting for your family?
Yeah. My mother has my mother is she's sick with MS, multiple sclerosis. So it's cost a lot for the treatment and stuff. So I just want to help her with that.
Wow. Yeah, that's really challenging, very difficult. And so, are you quite close with your mom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close to her.
So she's supportive. She doesn't worry about you?
No, she doesn't worry at all.
She knows you're a warrior?
yeah, she knows how I train and how hard I work for this.
Is your mom aware that, she's kind of on that list of reasons for you?
Yeah, she knows.
Yeah, it must be pretty special for you and your mom to kind of have that connection, and she must appreciate you going to battle for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. That's very it's so funny about, boxing seems to always have an undertone of people fighting for a reason or fighting their way out of something, and I think boxing saves lives in a lot of ways. Would you say that you can relate to that as well as a bit of an experience?
Yeah, I could definitely relate to that because I do. A bunch of boxers do have a reason to fight, and I'm one of them.
How important do you think that is? Like, do you think a fighter can be as successful if they're sort of just doing it because, they love boxing or they want to be famous, or, how important do you think is having a deeper meaning behind why you fight?
It's definitely important, but anyone who really wants it can get it. They can, if they work hard for it and they try and do their best, they can, anyone can achieve it.
Hmm. How is it for you kind of being like, I bet you're probably one of the younger guys in the gym.
Yeah.
How is that for you? Like, do you try to get to know some of the older fighters and learn from the people around you? Is it intimidating for you ever?
No, I don't really try to, I'm not really much of a social person, so I don't try to talk to people. I just like watching and learning from, because I'm a visual learner, so I like
Right.
watching and learning quickly. But
Interesting.
other than that, they don't treat me any different. They see me as like a grown man.
Right.
So yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
That's wicked. I was chatting with David John Jackson recently. Do you know who that is?
No.
One of the he's a retired pro, but he's currently like Clarissa Shields' coach. He trained Bernard Hopkins. He's trained a bunch of guys. He's actually fought Bernard Hopkins as well. Anyways, he was saying that fighters actually learn by watching other fighters more than they'll even learn from their trainers. It's like a real student of the game is always watching, always picking up things that they're seeing happen around them. And it sounds like you can completely relate to that. Always observing, always taking in.
Yeah, I feel like boxers definitely learn when they watch more because you can learn something from every boxer. So when you're watching sparring or a fight, you can always learn something that they do.
Were you a fan of the sport before you got into it?
No, I didn't even know that existed.
Wow, no way. So it was just like out of the blue, this kind of came into your life and it came in really quick.
Yeah.
Wow, incredible. Now, how has Pro Box helped with your career, Pro Box TV?
Pro Box has helped a lot. They've televised my fights. They've put me against good fights. They've always like promoted me. They always interview me before and after the fight. So they've helped a lot with my fights.
Yeah. What's so I'm curious how you find, like, I feel like social media is really becoming a huge part of how boxers can market themselves and stand out amongst the sea of other people trying to do the same thing. But for someone who's maybe, I don't know how you feel about social media. I'm making an assumption based on you kind of saying you're not maybe the most social guy. Like, do you find that a bit of a challenge? Do you have people to help you with that, or is that an area that you feel comfortable in self-marketing?
Yeah, I don't really post a lot. I just post a little bit, but my dad's the one who does more of the social media things. Like he posts a whole bunch of, like he posts like one time a day about it.
Dad,
But
well done.
yeah.
That must have been like a bit of a learning curve for Dad. I mean, that's not the generation that's like, okay, social media, daily post.
Yeah, but not. I don't really post on social media. The only time I do post is when I have a fight coming up or after the fight or back in training camp. But other than that, I don't really post like a lot on my story or nothing like that.
Yeah. So when you were, as you weren't really like a fan of probably boxing until you were in it yourself, and then at the time you were kind of coming into it. Who are some of your favorite people to watch and study and learn from in the sport?
My top favorite person to watch is Dave Benavidez, just because I've been around him basically my whole career. So I watched him spar, I watched him fight, I watched him do everything. So I learned a lot from him. I like watching Mayweather. I like watching Shakur Stevenson.
Mhm.
Um, Canelo too. Crawford's a good one too. It's just a whole bunch of fighters that are like that you can learn from. You can pick things from. You can learn from them.
Mhm. And what's been your thoughts on sort of the I think constant back and forth that's been going on with PBC and Canelo, and is he fighting David Benavidez? Is he fighting another Charlo brother? What's that been like for you in the gym conversations, or your own personal opinion?
Um, I hope he fights David Benavidez because David Benavidez definitely deserves that fight now.
Yeah. Do you think he's ducking
Um,
him?
I think so. I
Yeah.
think so.
It
But
seems like Canelo knows that's a hard fight.
yeah, Canelo knows that's a hard fight. So I feel like he's kind of avoiding it right now.
Right.
But I feel like the longer he waits, the worse it's just gonna get.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all do have an expiry date, especially in
Yeah,
pro sports. Like it is a short career, and that's why you have to make hay while the sun shines, is because, it is a short career. And I mean, and to your benefit, you're starting this journey where, most guys turning pro like in their early 20s, and you're kind of getting like a few years head start on sort of the
yeah,
average path. So are you really looking to maximize your kind of prime years in the sport?
yeah, yeah. I'm looking to maximize. I'm hoping to box till I'm like 30, and then once I'm 30, once I see myself like going down a little bit, then I'll kind of see what I'll do from there.
Do you think most boxers say that to themselves and then find it, once the time actually comes, find it really hard to stay retired?
Yeah, I
How do you
think they
how
do
do you think
because
people know when it's time? And how do you think they actually, stick to that decision?
I think they know when it's time when they started to like look bad in fights, probably maybe lose some fights. Um, I think that's when starting to look bad in sparring. I think that's when it's time to like. That's when you know it's like time you have to,
Yeah.
because after that you're just risking yourself to get hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of want to walk away from the sport being able to, you know, live a semi-normal life and be able to hold
Yeah,
down a thought in a sentence. And, you see that there is damage, long-term damage to the sport like that. That's kind of, I mean, that's to be expected. That's what you sign up for. But I think if you're smart with your career, you can kind of get away with, coming out unscathed. Now,
yeah.
how did you get your nickname?
I got my nickname because um, it's like because nowadays it feels like boxing is like there's not really no good fights really. There's just like there's it's not the best in the best or um like really putting yourself to the test. That's why I've decided to fight three undefeated fighters in a row, and I decided to show why I belong up there because the name is Revolution because I feel like I'm bringing a revolution back to the sport. Like I want the sport to come back to the best fights and the best fights,
Mm,
and people jumping out of their seats, knockouts, bloody wars.
mm.
I just want to bring that back.
And so that's sort of a statement you want to make with your career, is like, you're not afraid to fight the best. You want the best fights, the hardest fights.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're in an interesting area that's getting a lot of criticism with, the best not wanting to fight the best. And we're seeing that play out. What do you think the impact of, social media stars coming into boxing and crossover boxing and YouTube stars, has that made an impact on kind of who's deciding they want to fight who? Because there's so much money involved if you can slipstream it to the top. What do you think?
yeah. I feel like that's that definitely made an impact on boxing, on how people viewed boxing, on how boxing is handled, because yeah, it's just like you said, there's a lot of money involved, and uh, people people don't like to lose money, so
Yeah.
they want to keep their fighters safe. They want to make sure that they get the best fights for their fighter, but not the best as in like the best versus the best, like the best is in they're gonna win.
Mhm. Yeah. And what do you think about the, sort of like, I guess, the crossover, like guys coming over from MMA, YouTube stars? Like, what's your personal opinion on that? Because I feel like, your generation is the generation that's supposed to be attracting. They're saying it's great for the younger
Yeah,
generation. It's getting more eyes on the boxing. You're of that generation, and you're also in the sport. So you have an opportunity to have a really unique opinion, and an important opinion. What is yours?
yeah. It's good. I think it's okay because it is bringing a lot of attention to the sport. Like like let's say people who didn't even know boxing existed like me, they might know it because their favorite YouTuber boxed somebody or favorite, like some influencer boxed another influencer. So they might see that and they might like it. They might go into real boxing. Um and yeah, I think it's okay.
Mm, interesting. Yeah. And does your father come with you to all your camps, or is your brother with you? Who's with you kind of through this journey?
Yeah, my father always comes with me because he's my trainer, and he also cooks for me. He manages my diet, and yeah, so he's
Dad's
always
all
with me.
in.
Yeah,
How cool is that? What does that mean to you to have your father in your corner like that?
it means everything to me because I just know he has my back always. He's always gonna want the best for me. He's always gonna support me.
And there, in boxing, you see a lot of well, throughout history, there's been some pretty famous father-son duos. Do you think you guys will be among that list one day?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, what is if you could have a fantasy matchup and you could fight anyone, past, present, future, who would it be?
Mm, I want to fight Ryan Garcia.
Yeah. Why?
Uh, wait, are we talking about like right now or
Yeah. Like
like
if you
later?
could have it fantasy, why would you want to fight him right now? How would you fight him?
I feel like I'm ready for him. I feel like um with the correct sparring and the correct training, I feel like I could I could do damage to him.
Yeah.
But
Hey, it's definitely. I mean, it was definitely a high-profile fight. He's making a lot of eye rolls and gasps in the boxing world right now. He's
yeah,
definitely a vocal guy. So I mean, that would be a very high-profile fight for you. If you could box anyone from the past, who would it be? Retired boxers, expired boxers. Who would you fight and why?
mm, I'd fight. I think I'd fight Mayweather. I think
Yeah,
I'd fight Mayweather because I just feel like no one could crack him. So I want to give it a try. I see if
yeah,
I can do
yeah.
something.
You want to test it. You think you could. Okay, cool. I love that. What have been some of the most the most inspiring pieces for you in your career? Like for some, that's maybe a boxing movie, or that's like a song, or that's a book, or that's a person. Who have been sort of your pillars of inspiration, or what has been some of your pillars of inspiration?
Definitely. One of them was gonna be my mom. My mom's definitely my inspiration, and I've seen David go. I've seen David become a world champion. So David Benavidez is also one of my inspirations. And yeah, Mayweather is another inspiration of mine because he's just like he was 50, he beat everybody. So uh, definitely inspirational.
Wicked. I love that. And then who's representing you or sponsoring you? How do you go about finding sponsors? Is that something that you're concerned with? Is that something dad handles? How is that looking for you as you develop your career?
Yeah, it's something my dad handles, but there's always been two sponsors that have been loyal to me since I started my pro career. Uh, La Central Taqueria and Javier's Bar and Grill. They've always been by my side,
Amazing. And how did that
sponsoring.
relationship begin?
My dad actually trained them. Like he used to do personal training in Washington, so he trained them for a little bit, and they made a friendship, and they started sponsoring me.
Amazing. Okay, so what's Vegas have in store for you? How long are you there? What are your plans while you're there? Are you doing anything fun, or is it all business?
Um, I'm I'm probably gonna be here for about 2 months, training. I am gonna spar Lara soon,
Cool.
at Salah's boxing gym. So once I get back conditioned, then I'll start sparring with him, get him ready for his fight. And then, but most of the time we might go out on like a weekend to like the strip or like movie theater. But most of the time, like 90% of the time, it's just boxing here. Like we just sleep, eat, and train.
Yeah. And that sounds like that's exactly what you want to be doing. I mean, that sounds like you're right where you're meant to be.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, honestly, if I hadn't seen your fight for myself, I would have just thought you were the sweetest human on earth. I'm like, there's no way this man is incapable of beautiful violence like that. You know, and you seem like you have such a strong family, and, you know, you have a beautiful relationship with your mom and your dad. And, you know, I really I hope to see you hoist a world title one day. Like, you know, I believe that, like, your story is very unique. You know, you've had a very unique path, and you've landed yourself in a very important place in boxing right now. And I can't wait to see what you can do. I'm very impressed by your whole story and your commitment, you know, to your mom. And I just think that's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you're a talent. You know, your fight was. I can tell you're strong. You know, you hit hard. You're fast. And so you got a lot going for you. And you know, on behalf of Empire, I wish you the absolute best and the rest of your camp in your career. And we're going to keep our eyes on you and cheer you on along the way. So know that you got some Canadian fans now for sure.
Thank you, and I appreciate you guys inviting me onto the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make sure to listen, follow, and subscribe to Empire Boxing on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube.